Kids are young, vulnerable, even as teenagers or younger. These things get to them. These things really affect them.
A recent report details how some Muslim students in Manitoba have been subjected to harassment and Islamophobia in the province's classrooms. Titled Friendly Manitoba, Community Experiences with Islamophobia, the report was piloted after the Havzel family was killed while out for a walk in London, Ontario. An incident police and prosecutors called an act of terrorism, saying the family was targeted because of their faith. The Manitoba Islamic Association is now calling for a renewed focus on anti-Islamophobia education in the province.
The reality is that kids in school are being called out for being Muslim, either by their peers and sometimes even by staff.
Based on a survey of 190 Muslims and interviews with community leaders, the report details how some students in both K-12 education and post-secondary experience Islamophobia. One participant detailing how their daughter and friend were harassed by a substitute teacher for wearing hijabs. The report claims in part, he asked her and her friend, both wearing hijab, what would happen if he pulled their hijabs off. He proceeded to harass them during the day, tugging on their hijabs. While the teacher was reported, no charges were laid. Co-author of the report, Idris Elbakri, says this is only one example of a wider problem.
Obviously, that's an extreme case, but there's a lot of, and this is kind of the hardest part, is a lot of microaggression that is very difficult to respond to. If someone goes to the step of verbally or physically attacking someone, it's obvious what one should do. It's just, call the police, right? But if you get these comments, these forms of microaggression comments dropped here and there, then that becomes a bit more difficult to try to respond to.
The report found that of the people who participated, 62% say they had experienced Islamophobia, with 73% saying it's happened in public spaces, 43% saying it's happened to them at school and in the workplace, 40% online, and 16% at home. Overall, the survey also found only a small percentage of participants, 18%, felt safe while being visibly Muslim due to their manner of dress. Women, youth, and Black Muslims saying they are disproportionately targeted. Al-Bakri says education is critical to addressing the hate in the province.
We shouldn't just react to negative behavior when it happens. We should, kind of proactively try to anticipate that there are things that are going to happen in our communities that are not positive, and try to proactively address them.
The report details recommendations the government can take to combat Islamophobia, with several focusing specifically on K-12 education, including safe spaces for prayer, recognizing Muslim holidays like Ramadan, and developing teacher toolkits on Islam, Muslims, and Islamophobia. Al-Bakri says more work needs to be done to ensure Manitoba's Muslim students see themselves in education and be welcomed, but stressed that work also has to take place in the broader community as well.
All these issues stem from racism, from xenophobia, fear of the person who's different or the other, whether it's Muslim or Sikh or Jew or Black or what have you. I think, the question that confronts the society, are we all members of the same family? And if we are, then, every member of the family needs to be at the table.
In a statement, Education Minister Wayne Owasco says he empathizes with Muslim students, their families, and anyone who doesn't feel safe in the province's schools, saying the government has several programs in place to help ensure Muslim students feel welcome and Islamophobia is addressed. Quote, the Ministry of Education takes Islamophobia or any instance of bigotry in our Manitoba schools extremely seriously. We encourage those who are victims of hate to report it to their local school divisions, and we urge those who work in education to use the resources provided by Manitoba Education and Early Childhood Learning to equip themselves with the tools needed to foster respect for religious diversity and inclusion in schools. In Winnipeg, Morgan Majeski, City News.